Hello there, YouTube land.
Welcome back.
Today we come to you with another one of our entertaining movie reviews.
Yeah, one of our Elder Goth movie reviews. A movie that we saw quite a while ago, and we saw it in theater.
We did.
We went together.
And so it's also directed by the same guy who directed one of our favorites, which was the Poughkeepsie Tapes.
Yes. And this movie is As Above, So Below.
So, Tabby and I are purveyors of anything occult, anything historical.
Right, alchemy, historical alchemy, things like that.
We find that type of thing really fascinating. So when we found out the subject matter of this film, we were extremely excited.
Yes.
Because we wanted to see what all these things could look like on screen. So, if you haven't seen it, it's a found footage film.
It is.
And, it's well acted. There's a lot of fun exposition by the main character, who's a female, who is I can't remember if she's actually a doctor fully in the film, or if she's just gotten 2 degrees. I mean, yes, you can be a doctor with more than 1 degree, but the idea I got from it was that she wasn't finished with her schooling yet because she hadn't learned Aramaic yet. She had to get someone to help her translate Aramaic.
I think that was the case.
Yeah.
And if anybody knows anything about, doctorate programs, you go through the thesis, the dissertation, everything like that.
So she was getting more than 1 degree, so she was a doctor, but she hadn't finished her schooling on everything that she needed to do the research that she wanted, so she had to bring in other people to help her with the translations on the artifacts.
Yes.
To put a long story short, as it were.
And I did like the fact that that the lead they chose for it was very... I guess what I'm trying to say is she was portrayed as being very intelligent. And
relatable. I mean, she didn't come off as, because in film a lot of the time, they'll put someone who has a PhD as kind of like a know-it-all attitude and that type of thing.
Right, she was kind of down to earth, kind of,
Yeah.
She had her friends.
And that she, absolutely loved the subject matter and everything, and she was excited to get other people interested in the thing that she loved. So, knowing most PhDs are like that. They're not how they're portrayed on film. So, I got to give the props to the director for that, giving a more realistic view of somebody that has a PhD versus how PhDs are generally shown on film.
Yeah, not all PhDs are complete and utter oblivious nerds.
Yeah.
So...
A lot of them listen to heavy metal. But anyway.
Yeah, they do. The other thing that I really liked, too, was just kind of the general... she was, an anthropologist, but, she had all these groups of friends that, just came from different walks of life, and they were all kind of on that equal basis.
And that was really cool.
And that's more relatable to the real world than, what you typically would see...
In movies.
So,
where we got into some issues was... Well, the first thing is, in order to, really dive into this film and, be, a huge fan, you have to be able to suspend the disbelief that not all areas of the Parisian catacombs have been explored.
Which, the catacombs are fascinating.
They are.
I mean, they really are. They're a fascinating thing. But... The other thing, and we kind of have to say this too, you should never go down into the catacombs by yourself. It's highly dangerous.
It's literally a maze. And they have had people die down there because they've gotten lost and run out of food and water. It's a fact.
It is a fact.
So that's why, it's totally restricted. You only go down there with tour guides and stuff because those are the people that are trained that know how to get around the catacombs. They have been in there. They know where all the turns are.
Right.
It's...
And of course, something that you're going to see in this movie is kind of this independent group that explores the catacombs on their own, and there are plenty of those. It's never recommended.
No. And, she randomly, gets an idea from a guy that was sort of sitting, listening to them have a conversation, to tell her to talk to a guy in a club. That's part of where it got a little bit unbelievable for me, because most of the people that go and explore things like the catacombs by themselves are very secretive.
Yes.
So somebody randomly wouldn't just say, "Oh, I know this guy. He can get you down there." So that part,
He can bend it a little bit, but
yeah,
the way that things progressed to me were very
too easy.
way too easy and very predictable.
Yes.
I find this guy, he automatically agrees. Yay.
Yeah.
That's where we lose kind of that realism aspect.
And then we kind of get into, if you've studied anything about the history of alchemy and, general history of, like, all these, like, old sciences and things, and how things were discovered, when you watch this film, you realize, essentially, it was kind of like cherry picking from over here and over here and over here and over here, and let's put this all together and kind of sort of add it to a Dante's Inferno type thing.
Throw it all in the cauldron, watch it bubble, and boom, shebang, there it is.
So those are the parts that we have issue with. The parts we like. The weird demonic Jawa things.
Those were kind of cool.
They were really creepy and neat, and I really enjoyed those.
Well done.
Yes.
Well done. I did like, kind of, when you look at the beginning of the movie, you will see this figure come in, and she's kind of interspersed in several places. So I did like that. It kind of gave you that, well, what are you up to over there? And
a bit of continuity. I really liked, again, down into the pits of hell, where they had the section, like, that related to Dante's Inferno, where they had, like, the statues that looked like bodies that came to life to grab you.
Yes.
And things like that. They really did a good job of enhancing the creep factor.
Like the River of Souls, when she goes back and forth through it, you can kind of, like, get a feel for it yourself. Like, if I was crawling across that and all these things were reaching to get me. And, kudos to her and her character for just continuing on.
Yes.
I'd probably slap somebody. Be like, excuse your hand.
Yes. And, I liked the way that they presented the idea of as above, so below, that, they're mirror images of each other and things. And the way the movie ends, that they actually come out topside through a manhole, was really unique.
It is unique, and that played right into that. If you are in a certain position in this, the as above, so below, and then it's switched, and then you have to kind of figure out how to switch it back. That's the only way you're getting out.
Yeah.
But it also leaves the question at the end, did they in fact
get out?
Because
we don't know.
Because the movie cuts off. So you don't know if they stepped out into the world that they left.
Or if they're in some sort of demonic version of the world they left and are essentially, they're dead and trapped for eternity.
Yep. Are they trapped in hell or are they not?
And, to a certain extent, I like it when directors do that because it makes you think about the film.
Right.
Everything isn't, like, tied up in a pretty bow. You have answers, but you don't have all the answers, which is more realistic in terms of life, because none of us have all the answers to everything. So I really like it when a horror film does that, because it extends the creep factor beyond the point of just watching the film.
Exactly. Because, they did lose so many characters in the catacombs to various and sundry things. It also begs the question, if they are in an alternate reality, or if they are still, in fact, like a demonic version of Paris, did all those people actually die?
Yeah. And are there, like, demonic versions of them walking around in Paris? Are they going to go in the club and see the guy?
Where does one time end and another begin?
Yeah.
And did she in fact find the Philosopher's Stone, or did she not?
Yeah. The idea is that the Philosopher's Stone is yourself, though.
Yes.
So if she became the Philosopher's Stone, then she would be trapped in between.
Yeah. So, lots of questions in this one.
So, what's your favorite found footage film? We know you have one.
We know you have one. All of you people, out there, Blair Witch fans, things like that, we know you're out there. We have seen Blair Witch.
Yes.
And Blair Witch 2, and we will probably talk about that
Relatively
in the future.
soon. So, with that, we'll leave you now. And we hope you have a wonderful, creepy week. Bye-bye.
Bye.